I'm Ryan Jilton. This is your Barbados Today morning update for Friday, October 20th, 2017. Glad you could join us and have a good morning. General Secretary of the Democratic Labour Party, George Pilgrim, is expected to deliver a letter to Attorney General Adriel Brathwaite today, seeking answers about the requirements to practice law in Barbados. Pilgrim told reporters it is one of the mandates that emerged from the party's General Conference back in September, which was based on a resolution that had raised questions about the qualifications of opposition leader Mia Mottley to practice law in this country. He was speaking yesterday at a press conference at the DLP's George Street headquarters.
I want to share with you here today, for those who may not have access to it, a copy or a reading of the resolution that was the genesis of this request. Whereas there has been much debate in our Parliament, calling programs and social media about the possession of a legal education certificate in order to practice law in Barbados, and whereas doubt has been cast on the possession of such a certificate by the leader of the opposition, a practicing lawyer, and whereas there is need for clarity in this matter, be it resolved that this conference calls on the Attorney General to clear the air on the legitimacy of the requirements for the legal education certificate as a condition for practicing law in Barbados.
Meantime, the state-owned Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation is being accused of operating as an arm of the ruling Democratic Labour Party. The charge from General Secretary of the Barbados Labour Party, Dr. Jerome Walcott, comes ahead of the party's 79th annual conference, which comes off in Queen's Park next weekend. He says the main opposition party is rejected whenever it requests airtime on the CBC, and is being funded by taxpayers' dollars despite the fact that the cash-strapped organization needs crucial advertising dollars.
Apparently, CBC, a station financed by the taxpayers of Barbados, which should be operating in the interests of all Barbadians, seems to have a recurrent problem with requests of this country's loyal opposition party, whilst ostensibly operating as an arm of the DLP government. On March the 8th this year, the BLP requested and paid $2,277.50 for 3 ads to be broadcast on CBC on the nights of March the 8th, 9th, and 10th. CBC did not air the ads as agreed to in the booking contract. The ad was not shown after the first night, and CBC subsequently refunded to the BLP the sum of $1,518.34. A station which is over $100 million in debt and recently admitted the inability to pay its employees outstanding increments can return checks.
Head of the Sub-Regional Office of the Food and Agriculture Organization in the Caribbean, Lister Fletcher Paul, says Barbados and the rest of the region must make greater effort to keep records on predial larceny if they're to crack down on the problem. She told journalists that crop and produce theft are having a detrimental impact on the local economies, but many Caribbean countries were not collecting information on the vexing problem. Fletcher Paul was speaking on the sidelines of a workshop hosted by the Ministry of Agriculture to examine the problem yesterday.
Even before you submit the information, you have to collect the information, and this is the problem. Data and data collection always is a big problem in the Caribbean. A number of Caribbean countries don't collect some of the information, and when they collect it, they don't communicate it. So I think we have to spend a little more time collecting, analyzing, and disseminating the data. In a lot of instances, when we go to these meetings at COTED and so on, they keep saying the lack of data in the Caribbean is a serious issue. We're not collecting the data. You see, because a lot of the decisions that are being made are made based on what is politically expedient rather than what is technically sound. And that is the issue. We have to start making our decisions based on sound data.
Fletcher Paul says every effort must be made to fight the problem of predial larceny since it can negatively impact food security.
Because we keep saying, eat local, buy local. But when you grow local and it's stolen, then there's nothing to eat, there's nothing to buy. And it's more than that, because it seems as though it could also be intra-regional, because some of these things are traded. The stolen goods get into the international market and they're traded among the countries. So it's a big disincentive. It's going to affect our food security regionally.
From your perspective, are we in the region taking it as seriously as we should?
No, I don't think we're taking it as seriously as we should. The farmers are taking it seriously because they are impacted. But now, maybe I should step back. They're now beginning to take it serious. The fact that you have a meeting like this is saying that we have to wake up. In fact, some of the presentations today, the number of comments on social media, obviously it's taking root. And the other thing I forgot to mention too is not only its impact in terms of the livelihoods, but there's also a health issue. You steal crops which have just been sprayed, and that gets into the market. There's a serious food safety issue that also has to play.
As Queen's House, the home of the Queen's Park Gallery and Daphne Joseph Hackett Theatre, officially reopens its doors, stakeholders in the cultural industry are excited about the possibilities. The National Cultural Foundation manages the facility, and Chief Executive Officer Cranston Brown says they will be meeting with stakeholders to ensure they can capitalize on the new facility. He was speaking at a special ceremony to reopen the refurbished multi-million-dollar facility on Wednesday.
This return is all happening at an exciting time when the cultural industries are on the cusp of expansion and development, being positioned as one of the most critical growth sectors. With that in mind, we in the National Cultural Foundation believe the time is right to seize the opportunity for a meaningful dialogue with the various artistic and cultural groups and fraternities on furthering developing the key ingredients that will support Barbadian culture within the mandate of the NCF.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, touching one community at a time.
We turn to the region now, where in Jamaica, General Secretary of the People's National Party, the PNP, Julian Robinson, says the party is not fazed by polls released by the Jamaica Labour Party showing Dr. Norman Dunn leading in the South East St. Mary constituency. The JLP released the findings of an internal poll showing Dunn some 15 percentage points ahead of the PNP's Dr. Shane Alexis. The JLP had said earlier in a statement that the poll was conducted earlier this week by Caribbean Development Strategies with a sample size of 1,700 voters from the constituency and had a margin of error of plus or minus 5 percentage points. Robinson has refused to say what the PNP's internal polls are indicating, but he says the candidate Shane Alexis has been working in the constituency and the PNP is confident that he'll be able to retain the seat for the party. Dunn faces off with Alexis in October 30th by-elections, which follow the death of the PNP MP Dr. Winston Green back in August. Return to the United States now, where the White House Chief of Staff has attacked the Congresswoman he described as selfish after she accused the President Donald Trump of making the wife of the soldier cry. General John Kelly said he was broken-hearted by the Democrats' criticisms of the President's condolence call to the wife of Sergeant LaDavid Johnson, who was killed in Niger by Islamist militants earlier this month.
He called 4 people the other day and expressed his condolences in the best way that he could. And he said to me, "What do I say?" I said to him, "Sir, there's nothing you can do to lighten the burden on these families. But let me tell you what I tell them. And let me tell you what my best friend, Joe Dunford, told me, because he was my casualty officer. He said, Kel, he was doing exactly what he wanted to do when he was killed. He knew what he was getting into by joining that 1%. He knew what the possibilities were because we're at war. And when he died, in the 4 cases we're talking about, Niger, my son's case in Afghanistan, when he died, he was surrounded by the best men on this earth, his friends. That's what the President tried to say to 4 families the other day.
And that's the news. But for the latest, check out our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals and on Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also tune in to Mix 96.9 FM for more. I'm Ryan Jones. Continue to enjoy your morning.